Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into a really important shift in how endometriosis is treated. It's all about moving away from a one-person show and embracing a powerful team approach. Let's get right into it.
To really get to the heart of this, we first have to understand what we're actually dealing with. And surgeon Dr. Ezra Camargo puts it perfectly. For so many, endometriosis isn't just a medical diagnosis. It's an incapacitating pain that's often shrouded in misunderstanding. It's this incredibly complex experience that proves why a more sophisticated solution is so desperately needed.
So, to see why this new approach works so well, we first have to really wrap our heads around the pain itself. Because, as we're about to see, it's a much bigger problem than just the physical lesions of the disease.
Endometriosis often kicks off something called chronic pelvic pain. And the key word there is definitely chronic. This isn't your simple cause and effect kind of pain. It's a persistent, stubborn condition where the body starts to develop all these secondary problems, like tight, dysfunctional muscles and nerves that are just on high alert, all as a reaction to that initial pain.
For a really long time, the medical playbook for endometriosis was super direct. Find the disease and cut it out. But that hyper-focused approach, well, it often left a huge, critical part of the problem completely unsolved.
And you don't have to take my word for it. Dr. Camargo himself looks back on this older model. A patient would get a diagnosis, and the next, and often the only step, was surgery. It was the straight, one-track path that was just missing the bigger picture.
And this right here, this shows you the night and day difference. The old, solitary approach was all about one thing, cutting out the visible disease. But the team approach completely reframes the goal. It's not just about getting rid of lesions anymore. It's about treating a whole person and actually restoring their quality of life.
All right, so if that solitary model is out of date, what does the new gold standard look like? Well, it looks like a specialized team, basically a squad of experts assembled to tackle this problem from every single angle.
And here they are. This is the dream team. Of course, you've got the surgeon to handle the physical lesions. But just as important, you have a diagnostician who maps everything out, a pelvic physiotherapist to work on the muscles, a nutritionist to help manage inflammation, and a psychologist to deal with the huge mental toll of living with chronic pain. Every single one is a crucial piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so you've got the team. Now, how do they actually work together? Well, their entire goal is to deconstruct a patient's pain layer by layer and then treat each one of those components specifically.
And this is the million-dollar question that used to haunt the old approach. Why would a patient who had a successful surgery still be in pain? The answer, which this new team model is built to solve, is hidden in all those different layers of pain.
You see, the pain isn't just one thing. It's more like a domino effect. It starts with the lesion, sure, but then the body reacts. The pelvic muscles clench up to protect you. That's called guarding, and that creates its own source of pain. Then the nerves get totally hypersensitive. And finally, the brain develops what's called a pain memory, a vicious feedback loop where it just expects to feel pain, even after the original trigger is long gone.
And listen to how a pelvic physiotherapist explains this concept. It's fascinating. The brain gets so wired to send out pain signals that it just keeps the cycle going on its own. Surgery can take out the physical endometriosis, but it can't just erase this learned response from the brain. That's a job for another specialist on the team.
This totally changes the diagnostician's role too. It becomes kind of like detective work. They're not just looking for obvious lesions anymore. They're listening carefully to where and how the patient feels pain. That description literally becomes a map that guides the imaging, helping them find the specific faulty wire, whether it's a nerve, a muscle, or a lesion, that's causing all the trouble.
So all of this leads to a really crucial point. This entire approach shifts the very definition of success. It's not about a clean scan anymore. It's about a patient getting their life back.
And this is maybe the most important takeaway here. Endometriosis is now understood as a chronic condition, a lot like diabetes or asthma. The goal isn't some mythical one-and-done cure. It's about effective, long-term management that allows a person to live their life fully without being held back by pain.
And we can see exactly how this works in a real patient's journey. This person actually started with physiotherapy before surgery to calm down the muscular pain. Then, they had a targeted operation to remove the lesions. And finally, post-op physio helped to retrain the muscles and dismantle that pain memory. And the result? The patient said they felt 100% again.
Honestly, this quote from Dr. Camargo just says it all. The best kind of care comes from collaboration. It comes from the humility of knowing that this problem is way too complex for any one person to solve all on their own.
And that brings us to a final question to leave you with.
Whether you're a patient, a doctor, or you're just learning about this, it really challenges us to think beyond a simple diagnosis and ask, is the approach to care addressing every layer of the problem? Is it, ultimately, treating the whole person?